Good morning, everyone. I'm Alicia Utley. My business is Infinite Tax Solutions. I am what's called an enrolled agent. And what that is, it's a specialized license that is issued directly by the IRS. I'm in the field of accountants, along with CPAs, other general tax preparers, bookkeepers, tax attorneys. So I'm in that field, and I do a lot of these skills that a lot of the other tax professionals also do. So some of the things that I specialize in are primarily tax preparation. I do tax planning. If you're a small business owner, I will help you either set up or revise your accounting system. I defend tax audits. I help with choice of entity and creation of new entities. And we'll also work hand in hand with your financial planners, your attorneys, your real estate agents to get you the best possible result in your life and in your business. Let's see here. What I want to talk about today is why you need a tax preparer. As you have heard, the rumors are our tax code is ridiculously complicated. I don't know anyone firsthand who's actually read the entire tax code. And because it's so complicated, most people do hire preparers like myself to do tax returns for them. This is a very smart move. It offers you an extra layer of protection in that most returns that are prepared by a paid preparer are not audited. So by merely having somebody else's name who is licensed on your tax return, you are reducing your chances of being audited by over 90%. So let's see here, based on IRS estimates, they're saying now just to do a basic tax return, it will take you at least 16 hours of your own time to try to fumble through it yourself using TurboTax or some other software. If you're self-employed or have a rental property, have stocks, anything like that, it's going to take you at least 24 hours to do a tax return. Your other option is to call somebody like me, and it may take an hour of your time and a small amount of money to get the job done. So, just a couple of little statistics there to show you chances of being audited, 100 and 1 in 150, which is much less than a heart attack, cancer, a stroke, or even being in a car accident. You can reduce those chances even more by having a paid preparer. Let's see here. If you have a basic tax return, it is okay to try to do this yourself. I do have people that come into me that want me to just take a look at things and make sure that they've done it correctly. I do this, and if there's no changes, and I send them on their way saying you did a great job, there's no fee for my service. I would say this probably happens less than a handful of times per year, but it does happen. When choosing a preparer, I encourage you to do your homework. I always like to have somebody local that you can sit down and meet with. You don't have to meet with them every year, but at least every couple of years, sit down, refresh what's going on in your life, what's changed with your family, what's changed with your business, how can we improve your taxes for the next year and reduce your liabilities. One problem that we've had in the last couple of years are backyard tax preparers. People get laid off from their job, they're semi-retired, I've been doing this for my family for years, I'm just going to set up a shop and start doing tax returns. This is a big no-no. The IRS attempted to fix this with new regulations that came out in 2013. They were sued and had to ultimately shut down the program. So there are still plenty of unlicensed preparers out there, and you should really shy away from them. Some of the red flags are if they give you your tax return back to you and their name's not on it anymore. That should be a big red flag. If they are charging you based on the percentage of your refund, that should be a big red flag. Let's see, if they're not insured, that would be another thing for you to consider. Most professionals like myself, CPAs and tax attorneys all have malpractice insurance, so if there is a problem, which sometimes there are, it just happens, they have insurance to cover it, or they fix it. You don't necessarily have that protection if you go to somebody that just set up a shop and is not licensed. Let's see here. Any company that asks you to pay more to guarantee their work, that should also be another red flag. So if you buy the audit protection from H&R Block or some of the other larger companies, they cannot prevent you from getting audited. Knowledge and experience will help reduce the chances of getting audited, but nobody can prevent you 100% from getting audited. Is it expensive to have a preparer? Not necessarily. It depends on the complexity of your return. The process that I use is I typically sit down with you, get to know your history. I'll take a look at last year's tax return, figure out how complete your records are to determine what my level of participation is, and then I will give you a fee, typically before we even start the work. My average fee for an individual taxpayer is between $250 and $400, depending again on the complexity of the return. If you have an S Corp or an LLC, a trust, or an estate, those fees are in addition to your individual tax return, and you'll be quoted on those as well. The best time to find a preparer is not in March or April. As some of you may know, if you try to call my office in March or April, you're going to get a big block by my assistant saying, "I'm sorry, she's busy. Let's try to schedule an appointment over the next couple of weeks." The best time to track me down and meet with me is November, December, or January. Typically, if we meet before the end of the year, though, we can make any adjustments before the end of the year that would affect the next year's taxes. If you come to me in January, February, March, or April, the year has already been closed and done, and there's not much I can do to fix last year's books. What's done is done. But if we meet in November or December, we can do some planning, make some adjustments at that time. And my office does offer organizers. If you've been in my system previously, my software does produce an organizer that has all of the last year's information side by side, asking for what you have for this current year. It's a tool that helps you get everything together and should make things easier for you. Let's talk about audits. Who gets audited? Anybody can get audited. If you are self-employed, if you have a rental property, if you have a high amount of charitable donations, or if your itemized deductions seem to be far in excess of your income, these are all things that can trigger an audit. It's all computer-based, it's all statistical, and a good preparer can help keep you within the parameters of what they think is going to be audited. Let's see here. The easiest way to get audited, and the most surefire way to get audited is to not report your income. If the IRS receives a 1099 or a K-1 with your Social Security number on it, and you've not reported that on your tax return, there is a pretty good chance you're going to get a love letter from the IRS saying, "Why didn't you include this?" That may be a simple inquiry, or it could turn into a full-blown audit. It really depends on the situation. Let's see here. One thing that I encourage my clients not to do is to have several years in a row of business losses. If it looks like your business is going to have 3 years in a row of losses, the IRS will take a look at that and potentially say, this is a hobby and you probably need to find a better way to earn some income. If I see a client that's had 3 years of losses in a row, we have a meeting about whether they want to continue to do business or whether this should be reclassified as a hobby. Some of the myths of the past are that if you e-file, you have a higher chance of getting audited. That is not true. If you paper file, your chances now are increased of getting audited. Some people think that if they send in their tax payment electronically, that they're going to get audited. Again, not true, and there's always a record of that payment being sent in. So I prefer electronic filing and electronic payments for all of my clients. And the best way to reduce your chances of being audited are to hire a reputable tax preparer. I cannot emphasize that enough. It doesn't have to be me, but it should be somebody. And that is my presentation.